UFC 314 is going to take place in Miami, Florida on April 12th, and tickets have gone on sale, and they have officially announced the entire card. So let's go through it because there's a lot of stuff happening here. Alexander Volkanovski, number 1 in the division, taking on Diego Lopez, number 3 in the division. So that is going to be the main event. So this is a little surprising to some people because it seemed like things were trending towards Volkanovski versus Topuria Part 2 headlining this card. And since Topuria isn't going to be fighting Volkanovski, people are naturally going to think, well, Topuria is probably going to end up fighting Makhachev next. And what fuels that speculation further is that this is for the World Featherweight Championship, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Not interim, World Featherweight Championship. There's no mention of interim, so the assumption is for the undisputed title. So what happened to Ilia Topuria's belt? People are going to assume that he vacated the belt, something he said he was going to do. He said he was going to vacate, go up to 155, and it appears like maybe he has done that because they're doing this fight for the World Featherweight Championship. So it's a great opportunity for Diego Lopez. He could become the undisputed featherweight champion if he gets the win over Volkanovski. And Volkanovski has a chance to reclaim his title. Obviously, he'll feel a little bit empty if he doesn't beat Topuria to get the belt back, but he could become the champion again if he beats Lopez. The co-main event is a 5-rounder in the lightweight division. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, number 7 versus number 12 in the lightweight division. Big opportunity for Paddy Pimblett to break into the top 10, into the top 7 if he can beat Chandler. Paddy's coming off a win over Bobby Green, choking him out. Chandler's coming off a couple losses, but he's only fighting the best of the best, guys like Poirier, Gaethje, and Oliveira. Now he's fighting down in the rankings, and this should be a pretty chaotic fight. I could see it being pretty chaotic on the feet. Paddy would have a tough time, I think, taking down Chandler, but if Chandler shoots on Paddy, it could get interesting on the ground. Paddy was able to turn Bobby Green somehow into a wrestler, and he choked him out. So this is going to be a frantic, chaotic fight. So good 5-round co-main event that may not last the full 5 rounds. Good chance of a finish here. Right before that fight on the main card is a very interesting fight in the featherweight division. Yair Rodriguez, number 5, against Patricio Pitbull. So Pitbull has officially signed with the UFC. That was his goal and desire for a really long time, getting released by the PFL and signing with the UFC, and it has come to fruition. He wanted to fight the best of the best, and he's getting the opportunity. He's getting a top 5 opponent, number 5, in his first fight in the UFC. There's some talk of maybe him fighting somebody lower in the rankings in his first fight, maybe like a Dan Ige, who we'll get to in a little bit, but he's going straight to the top 5, so huge opportunity for him right off the bat in the UFC. Then you have in the welterweight division, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Jeff Neal ranked number 10 at 170, and Carlos Prates ranked number 13. This will be a fun striking fight, good striking fight for Prates, who had a hell of a year last year, 4-fight knockout streak. Neal's trying to stop that, but with Prates' ridiculous striking, he will be the favorite in this one. Neal will try and shut down that hype, but Prates will try and break into the top 10 with the win. Then you have in the light heavyweight division, Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes, number 8 and 11 in the light heavyweight division. Dominic Reyes has a little bit of a resurgence in his career, winning his last 2 fights over Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby, and Nikita Krylov's on a 3-fight win streak. Most recently, he defeated Ryan Spann. Krylov will likely try and mix the striking and the takedowns, and Reyes will probably just try and go head hunting for that knockout. Then you have in the featherweight division, Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson will be a striking type of fight at 145. Woodson will look to pick apart Ige on the feet, and Ige will try and close the distance for most of the fight, try and land a big power shot to get the knockout. If it goes the distance, it'll probably go to Woodson, but Ige has big power, so if he's able to land a good shot per round, it could sometimes sway a judge to give it to him because damage is the number 1 criteria, but more than likely, Woodson, with his length and reach, will probably outpoint him. Then you have in the women's strawweight division, Yan Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba, number 1 versus number 3 in the division, so there's title shot implications there. Then you have in the lightweight division, Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper, a legend in the sport against an up-and-comer in the lightweight division. And then there's some prelims which were unofficially announced before, but now officially announced. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa in the featherweight division, possibly Elkins' final fight. Cedric Dumas versus Mihail Olasejic in the middleweight division. Sumu Darji versus Mitch Raposo in the flyweight division. And then Montez versus Romero in the featherweight division. So that's pretty much it for the card. That's 12 fights. UFC 314, April 12th, Miami, Florida. Also, the UFC has revealed UFC 315 in Montreal on May 10th. Co-main event is going to be for the World Flyweight Championship. Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot, who's ranked number 2 in the division and earned that title shot. So Weili won't be moving up right now to take on Valentina. And another surprise is Shavkat Rakhmonov is injured, so he won't be taking on Bilal Muhammad. But Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena will be fighting for the welterweight championship. So huge opportunity for number 4 ranked Jack Della Maddalena. He'll be fighting for the title. Main event UFC 315 May 10th. So now Leon Edwards gets a new opponent for UFC London. Maddalena was supposed to be fighting Leon Edwards March 22nd in London.
We're going to talk about London's main event on March 22nd, live from the O2 Arena. The original fight was supposed to be Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena. Now it's going to be number 1 ranked Leon Edwards versus number 5 ranked Sean Brady. Number 1 ranked former champ Leon Edwards will be taking on Sean Brady, who has an impressive 17-1 record. His only loss is to the champ Bilal Muhammad. And I'll fill you in on where Jack's going here in a minute. All right? Everybody good with that? No bitching? No complaining? We good? All right. UFC 314 on April 12th, live from Miami, Florida. Tickets are on sale Friday. Ticketmaster.com. Number 1 ranked former champion Alex Volkanovski will be taking on number 3 ranked Diego Lopez for the vacant UFC featherweight title. Topuria has felt like he's done all that he can in that division, and he feels like he's cemented his legacy, and his body cannot make the weight anymore. So Topuria will be moving up to 155 pounds and will be vacating the featherweight title. So the way that this works is, as soon as the first punch is thrown in this fight, the title is vacated. And we will announce what Topuria's next fight will be when we get it done. So Volkanovski versus Lopez, headlining a badass stacked card. 52 career wins between the two of them, and this should be a fun one. And there is a 5-round co-main event between number 7 ranked Michael Chandler and number 12 ranked Paddy Pimblett. Chandler is a 2 or 3-time lightweight champ in another organization. He's always fun. How fun? He's fought 6 times in the UFC and won 5 bonuses. And Paddy is on an 8-fight win streak and has never lost in the UFC. All right? So I got some more here. Also on that card, number 4 ranked Yair Rodriguez, and my boys are telling me there's been some talk out on the internet about this one. Patricio Pitbull at featherweight. For those of you who don't know, Pitbull is a former 2-division champion in another organization, but recently he has publicly asked for his release, and now we get to see him compete against the best in the world. When he left the organization, he was the featherweight champion. So basically the same thing happens. When the first punch is thrown in this fight, he's no longer their champion. And obviously standing in his way, Yair Rodriguez, one of the most probably unorthodox strikers in MMA. This kid's got 9 post-fight bonuses. So that should be a badass fight. Remember, tickets are on sale Friday, Ticketmaster.com. And I'll drag this over there for you guys in a minute to show you how stacked this card is. All right? Who's Topuria fighting? I told you, when we get it done, we'll let you guys know. As soon as we get the Topuria fight done, we'll let you know. We don't have a fight done yet for him yet. Now let me get to UFC 315 on May 10th, live from the Bell Center in Montreal, Canada. The main event will be Belal Muhammad, his first title defense, against, what was I just talking about? Number 4 ranked Jack Della Maddalena. We tried multiple times to put together the Belal Shavkat Rakhmonov fight, but Rakhmonov is injured. So as soon as Rakhmonov's healthy again, we'll get him back in there, and obviously he'll probably be first in line to fight whoever wins that the Jack Della versus Belal fight. Belal hasn't lost in 11 fights. Jack's on a 17-fight win streak, with all 8 of those wins coming by first round knockout or submission. He's another guy who's earned like 5 performance bonuses in 6 fights. And his last fight against Gilbert Burns earned him Honors Comeback of the Year nomination. These guys have a combined 28-fight unbeaten streak that goes back over 6 years. Now, the co-main event on this card, the number 1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Valentina Shevchenko, will face number 5 ranked Manon Fiorot for the flyweight title. Shevchenko is the greatest women's flyweight of all time. She's beat everybody: Holly Holm, Juliana Pena, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Andrade Grasso. The list goes on and on. Manon is riding a 12 straight wins and hasn't lost in something like 7 years.